This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
1, 2, 3. Lovely. Everybody, and welcome to the Maastricht edition. Here we are, and we've got a sporty theme going on this evening.
We're trying.
Yes, we're trying. Yes, we're trying. And the reason we have a sporty theme going on this evening is because, as Matt mentioned, we have a fitness guru coming to us in the house tonight. Hugo Park will be joining us very shortly. So I have got my sporty gear on. I've got my tennis racket. Tracy, you've got your yoga outfit on. You're looking very bendy.
Yes, I've got my yoga mat as well. Yes, and my Namaste, everybody.
Namaste, darling. Namaste. And Matt, look at you with your towel. Have you actually been running?
Yes, I've been on a long run. I did about 10 miles today.
You're
doing very well. Yeah.
You are such a liar.
And he looked you right in the eye, Joe.
I know. It's shocking.
I do go occasionally. Though these days you have to book if you want to go to the gym. And because everyone knows the Dutch are super well organized and book so far in advance. And I'm really last minute, as we all know. So I never get a spot. It's impossible.
Oh, dearie me. Maybe it's time we all invested in home gyms, maybe like a cross trainer or an electric bicycle,
I do those videos, like, Joe Wicks, his videos, 20 minutes.
I totally agree with you while I'm drinking my wine, yeah.
Well, so you don't feel guilty, Joe. Cheers.
Cheers. Do you know what, though? This year, it's really been those that have and those who have not when it comes to getting fit. And those of us who have put weight on during the lockdown and those of us who have lost weight and got super uber fit. So I think, no, I probably shouldn't say this publicly, but in the first lockdown, I put weight on. In the second one, I'm going to lose it all. Who am I trying to kid? Yeah, Christmas is coming. Mince pies are going to be in the oven soon, and
it's baking season. You can't try and lose weight during baking season.
Yeah, there's a lot of it going on in there. Yeah, it's always the same at this time of year. I mean, there's lots of birthdays and stuff, and so well, we can't deny ourselves. We can't. But anyway, is everybody well? Tracy, Matt, are you well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thriving.
Well, this is good. I've noticed the weather's been very changeable the last couple of days. We've had some sun. 1 minute it's been warm, the next minute it's been cold. We've had wind, we've had rain, we've had all kinds of things going on. A girl doesn't know what to wear. She really doesn't. So if you go out, right, as everybody knows, I've got goats. And so every day I'm out there and I potter with the goats. And normally I've got a little jacket or a scarf or something that's hanging just by the back door there. I now have a whole range of outdoor wear that ranges from a very, very light little jacket up to full winter coat with earmuffs and gloves because, it's like, what's going on?
Yeah. It's tricky indeed. Some days you need a hat. Other days we've been, Dave and I, we go out at weekends to do a walk for, photographs or whatever. And you also have to consider what you wear. So some days a fleece and scarves and hats and gloves are required. And another day you could almost go in a t-shirt.
Yes,
so
I know. It's a bit crazy.
It is quite crazy. Well, if it helps, Joe, it's going to rain this weekend. So we'll be on more normal territory, I fear. But the rain.
Well, later on in the show, of course, we've got Pim Martins who's going to be joining us, and he's going to be talking about his new book. We were supposed to have Pim on the show on our Halloween episode a couple of weeks ago, but as you guys know, that went a little bit wibble because
it was a ghost going to the
ghosts,
system.
Gremlins, whatever. Yeah, they got into our system, and we had to cancel the show. But Pim, bless him, has agreed to come back this evening. So. He's going to be back later. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. He's talking about the relationship between humans and non-humans.
Sustainalism.
I'm glad you said that, Matt. So we shall be finding more about that later. And very shortly, as I said, we've got Hugo, the fitness guru of Maastricht, is going to be joining us. But before we get to Hugo, I think we probably should have a chat with Matt, don't you think, Tracy?
Yeah.
Because it's time to find out how Matt got on with reviewing the album of the week that was picked by Tracy last week, if I remember rightly. Can you remind everybody, Tracy, what album it was that you picked for Matt to review?
Yes, indeed. Last week I chose for Matt Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, and I chose a best of compilation to give him the best of the choices of songs. So it's just a little bit, I think he's either loved it or hated it. Some of the songs are quite weird, but some are fabulous. So let's see what he says.
What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, some of them were a bit weird. Like some of it sounded like Halloween music or something.
Mm-hmm. Like the Carney, for example. That was quite
exactly.
weird.
I was surprised you liked that one. I was like, it's all about clowns and stuff.
I know, but to be honest with you, it's probably my least favorite song on the whole album. Because it is. I actually usually, to be honest, Nick, if you're watching, I usually fast forward through that one because it's a bit spooky.
Okay.
But the rest is good.
Yeah, I thought it was good, but I don't know, like, he has a very distinctive voice.
That's true.
And a distinctive.
I'm not sure I liked it.
Oh.
But like, yeah, I think you're right. I think some of the songs were good, but then the other songs I was like, I'm not sure about this one. So yeah, I think it was a mixed one.
So when you were listening to it, Matt?
I was painting.
Oh, painting
A
walls,
wall.
painting canvas, right? Okay.
Oh, you've been decorating.
I decided I was fed up of just white walls everywhere, so I found this tutorial on Pinterest where you just draw these lines on the wall with paint. It looks great on Pinterest and it looks really easy, but then you start doing it and it's like, oh my god, it's going to take days. I'm not finished. I just did the edging. So this weekend, if it's going to rain, I've got something to do at least. And yeah.
Indeed.
Okay, so you were painting, and would you say this album is good while you're painting, or did you find it distracting?
No, I thought it was quite good. It was quite lively.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you going to listen to him again?
No.
Okay. Right, well, then the question is, how many Mats out of 10 do you give this album?
Yeah, it was a difficult one because it's quite mixed. I like some of them, but not the others. So I was like, I think I'll give it a 7.
Okay, that's not too bad. You know, he's quite a generous lad, he's our Matt, you know.
He is very kind. If he was on Strictly Come Dancing, he'd probably be the Bruno Tonioni of the group, not the Craig Revel Hall.
Yes, I think you're probably right, actually. So 7 Mats out of 10. So
not bad.
That's not bad, because it is an acquired taste, Tracy, don't you think?
He is. I mean, but if you actually know more, his background is fascinating. You know, he was born in Melbourne. He lived in the US for a while, in Sao Paulo, I believe. He currently lives in Brighton, would you believe? And he lost his son. He's been married several times. He's had issues, with, he's quite into religion and Bible. He draws on that a lot for his songs. He's kind of maybe a darker personality, I guess. But I think the voice, like you say, in some of the songs, like "Do You Love Me" or "Into Your Arms" or Henry Lee, which he does as a duet with, I forget her name now, but anyway, some of these, I mean, they really shine, and I think he's. There's such poetry, I think, in his voice. But I agree with you. Some of the other songs you're thinking, Christ, what the
I thought I was listening to the wrong album when that Kanye one came on. I was like, because I was listening on YouTube, and I was like, oh no, it switched to another album because it does that. And I was like, I had to go and check. Like, oh no, it's the right one.
I have to tell you, I always listen once I recommend an album. I tend to listen to it myself the next day. And I was playing it up in the attic, and Dave came to say hello just as the Carney was playing. He goes, "Babe, you're right." I said, "I'm okay. It's just Nick Cave." So, but there you go.
Okay, well, for next week then, it's my turn turn to choose an album for you, and I've decided to go a little easier on you, maybe, Matt. And this is another iconic album. So we are going old school with Whitney Houston. I have picked her debut album, and this was when we were first introduced to Whitney, and when most of us fell in love with her instantly. So the album originally is called Whitney.
I can remember that.
They thought long and hard about it. But actually, it's called Whitney Houston. It's you will see it. It's got sort of like a peachy, orangey background, and then there's a picture of her in the middle, and that is it came out in 1985, and this is the album that cemented her as one of the most magnificent voices in the last 1,000 years. I mean, for me, I thought she was phenomenal. I was 15 when this album came out, and I was just completely in awe of her voice, completely in awe. So, it looks like Hugo's in the house. Hello, Hugo. No, he's disappeared.
Scared him off, Joe.
Oh, we'll get him back in a moment. So that is your album, Matt. So have a listen to that. There's some dancey stuff on it. There's some romantic songs on it. I couldn't tell you where to actually listen to it, to be honest with you.
Painting?
I'm sure it'll be good for painting.
Yeah, I think you'll be all right, wouldn't you? Give it a try with the painting.
So that is your album for next week. But let's see if we can get Hugo back. It gave me a bit of a shock there. All of a sudden, Hugo joining us on the screen. I think he is back with us. There he is.
Sorry.
Hello, Hugo. Good evening. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Nice to have you back with us.
Nice to be back. Thank you.
I assume you were fiddling with some knobs there, and all of a sudden you ended up joining us on the show.
Yeah, we'll put it down to that. Yeah,
yeah, we will. We will. So the last time you were on the show with us, it's a fair few months ago now. There was a specific reason for you being on the show. This evening we're going to be talking about you being a fitness stroke personal trainer. But when you first introduced yourselves to us, you actually had this magnificent sporting achievement that was going on in Maastricht. Maybe you could remind everybody what was going on at the time.
Yeah, sure. I think you're being very kind there, but I was running 10 kilometers a day for 30 days. Actually, ended up doing a little bit over that, the sort of finale for hitting the fundraising goal was to finish with a solo marathon with a bit of accompaniment from my fiancée. So that was that. So yeah, big thanks to everyone who donated once again. That was for the ocean cleanup, which I think is a really worthwhile charity. So.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, well done to you. It was we were all in awe.
Oh, thank you very much. You're too kind.
And I seem to remember at the time we were saying, it's not a bad place to be running around in Maastricht. You've got some beautiful places to visit every day. Looking back on it now, is it something that you think, you know what, I'd be quite happy to do that again? Or is it, no, I've done that, let's move on?
Yeah, I think I would actually. Yeah, but it's a little bit, you kind of need the reason to actually, what helps is if you sort of have the impulse to do something like that, just straight away put it on social media. And then suddenly you're accountable to everyone.
Yeah.
So that helps. But yeah, the rest of life is going on as well, and other things, other forms of training as well need to happen. But yeah, hopefully I'll have a cause once more.
You talk about giving a reason. Obviously, at this year, as far as having the motivation to do any kind of fitness at all, for some people has been very difficult. Others have relished the challenge, of course, saying, well, do you know what? I'm actually going to start getting fit because now I have time to do it. People who are coming to you, what sort of reasons are they coming to you to get fit for? Is it because I have time now, or is it no, I really need to do something because, I'm getting older or getting more overweight? What are the reasons you're hearing?
Yeah, well, it's of course a bit of a mixed bag, but actually, yeah, quite a few people are saying that they've lost their group activities, if people who were doing things, or they've lost their workplace, they've lost their social groups, and they are just bursting to get out of the house.
Right.
And yeah, and have the urge, the drive, the energy to do something. So I think that's a really good way, of course, of addressing that. Yeah, it's very easy to let these negative feelings have the opposite effect and weigh you down. So yeah, it's a mixed bag.
I think it would be fair to say, out of the three of us here at the Maastricht edition, Tracy is the sportiest one out of the three of us. I'm sorry, Matt, but don't you think?
I just went on a jog. Look, I'm all sweaty and joggy.
The towel is very convincing.
So easily.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at that. Oh,
easily. But Tracy, how have you felt as far as keeping your mind healthy over lockdown has been? Do you find exercise has helped you a lot?
Oh, absolutely. But I pride myself in being a slightly disciplined person. So I think that's also quite important, especially during lockdown times. And I do enjoy my jogs in the morning, even if it's only 20 minutes. It's nice and quiet then. There's not many people around, just to kind of get things going. And I also do, of course, my little bit of yoga, and I've got some other kind of workout exercises. Mr. Motivator, for example. The video king. But I think also just generally walking and just getting out. And especially now that we're indeed all working from home and we're not having to perhaps leave the house at all for maybe a week, I think it's really nice to look forward to a weekend walk and just a stroll. And indeed, the weather is so lovely at the moment. It even encourages you more to get out during these kind of darker days that we have. So I think it's really key. I think we were speaking with other people on the show over the last months and so on, and how important mental health and looking after both mind and body is at this time, and also nutrition. And I guess Hugo will know more about that as well, that's also important. You are what you eat. And especially there's a tendency these days to perhaps snack a little more or order in takeout and stuff like that. So I guess it all kind of mixes together. And as Joe said at the top of the call, we're coming towards the Christmas period now as well, which is also more time for sitting around and eating and having naughty snacks. So it's maybe good to have someone like Hugo to get you into some sort of routine right now, so that you can get through the holidays without being completely depressed when January comes around.
Yeah, Hugo, touching on the mental health issues, I mean, it is quite well documented, of course, that exercise and keeping a healthy mental motivation and attitude kind of goes hand in hand. What are your top tips as far as maybe on a daily basis what you can do just to get that little burst of exercise, a little bit of motivation or encouragement to get you to do something?
Oh, well, when it comes to the encouragement, that side of it, I have to quote my mum here. She'll be very, very pleased with this, but her acronym is JFDI. I'll make it a little bit more polite. It's just flipping do it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
It always finds an excuse not to, can't we?
Exactly, and that's what we do. We all do. I do that as well, and it's so easy, especially nowadays. Kind of, we get a lot of advertising and messaging of exercise being this kind of fun, smiley, sweat-free, glamorous kind of experience, and it's not generally. And that's all right, but don't expect it to be. And you don't have to love it. You don't have to enjoy it, but you've got to do it. So that's my advice, just flipping do it.
So if people are going to come to you for some personal fitness training, what can they expect?
Oh, so we always do an assessment to begin with, and of course an intake meeting, consultations. We always clear up, what are you trying to achieve, and get to know each other a little bit. And then after that, we do an assessment. So I look at your posture, the way you stand. So static posture. And then we do look at how you actually move and look at things called movement patterns. And then together with that information and your goals and your experience level, that kind of thing, I put together a program for you, which is always really inclusive, right? So we always cover all of our bases with regards to fitness. So it's never going to be kind of let's just build a six pack or something like that. We've always got to be looking to improve your health span as well as how fit and muscly you feel.
I guess, and I suppose you have different goals for different people. So perhaps to be a bit stereotypical, a guy might say, I want a six pack and big muscles. And a girl might say, I want to have lean limbs and, I don't know, be wiry looking or something. And I guess you also have to take into account if people have injuries or something that you've got to work around as well. That's also part of the intake.
Health issues.
That absolutely is. Yeah, we do what's called a physical activity readiness questionnaire assessment.
Oh, I say.
Which is very, very, very exciting. Now, then we look at your, how ready you are physically to be active, to exercise. So that's really, really important. We always do that, and then we always we'll talk about any previous injuries or any ongoing aches and pains and that kind of thing as well.
It's interesting.
Sorry, Trace.
I read the other day as well that diet is such an important part because you can't out-train a bad diet. Would you agree with that, Hugo?
I completely agree. It is. I do also cover the diet part as well, but my main thing is being a personal trainer. So I'm not a nutritionist, but yeah, I do still have to say that diet is more important. If you can exercise till the cows come home, you can do all of the right things. If your diet's bad, you're still going to be unhealthy.
That's also a tricky one this year, though, isn't it? Because even the most disciplined of us are probably comfort eating this year because we're stuck indoors. We can't get out to play. So, do you know what? I'll bake a cake or I'll get that extra takeaway. It really is difficult this year.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, definitely. We don't have we need the kind of social cues, the social pressure a little bit to know that we're going to be seeing people. We need other people to help us keep our behavior on point,
Yeah.
Now, before you go, a little birdie told me that you've been doing some extra training yourself recently to help certain ladies in a particular condition, which is kind of tied in with a situation you're in yourself, Hugo?
That's right, yeah. So I am doing my level 3 award in pre and postnatal training. So yeah, training.
And that's connected to you how?
That's connected to my lovely and currently third trimester fiance, Bob. Who's actually in the room.
Oh!
It is now shaking her head and turning crimson. So.
But you know what?
I won't spin the camera.
Huge congratulations to you both. It's fantastic news. It really is fantastic news. But exercising during pregnancy, this is encouraged, I take it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely is. If you look at the Royal College of Gynecologists and the American College of Gynecologists on their websites, they're very, forthright about how women should be exercising responsibly and with really importantly, trained, qualified professionals who can help them do that in a safe way. It's important to note, it's not the time to start setting new goals for your fitness. It's where we look to maintain your fitness levels and to improve your health, your circulation, and all that kind of stuff, which is going to help you have a better pregnancy and delivery as well. So
excellent. Oh. Well, I'm sure you're putting your girlfriend through her paces. I have no doubt at all. If people do want to get hold of you, pregnant or not, what is the best way to get hold of you, Hugo?
You can go to my site. That's bridge.fitness. That's kind of the central hub for all my stuff. My email address is info@bridge.fitness. And then on social media, I'm under Bridge Personal Fitness on Facebook and Bridge PF on Instagram. But Bridge Personal Fitness, put it in the social media, you'll find me. I'm there.
Excellent. Well, for all of you who are sitting on your couch, it is not a bridge too far to get out there. Oh,
well done, dear.
To get Get motivated and join up with Hugo Park in the park. Oh, it's
I'll be there.
coming. Thank you so much for joining us, Hugo. We'll shove you all over social media this end. It's been lovely to see you. Congratulations to you both again. And we look forward to the baby pictures.
Oh, yes. Thank you very, very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Oh,
Oh,
such a nice chap, eh?
it's lovely.
Yeah.
He is lovely. Oh, Matt, you worked up a bit of a sweat there.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, Matthew.
dripping.
Ooh.
But now the sports gone off, I can take this off because I am actually too warm with this around my neck.
Well, that's racket. I haven't taken it out of its cover for quite some time, if I'm honest. But yes, I've still got it. But yes, what a lovely guy. Absolutely lovely. After all that excitement and energy and running around and motivation and everything, I think it's probably time to get all zen-like. There you go, Tracy. Bring on your Namaste, because it's time to relax. It's time to slow down. Put your feet up. Have a cup of tea, because it's time for this. It is Thursday, the 12th of November. And oh my God, there's lots going on. Lots. I'm going back to 1723. We're going to start with a patent. We love a patent on this show, don't we?
We do.
In 1723, Ambrose Godfrey patents a gunpowder-fueled fire extinguisher system. I can't.
It's a bit of an oxymoron, isn't it?
Such an oxymoron with a capital O there, Tracy. You're absolutely right. Gunpowder-fueled fire extinguisher.
Sorrow.
I don't know, but he patented it anyway. 100 years later, in 1823, the Great North Holland Canal in Amsterdam opens. And in 1847, Sir James Young Simpson, a British physician, is the first to use chloroform as an anaesthetic. A few years later, 1859, Jules Leotard performs the first flying trapeze circus act. And guess what? He also designed the garment that bears his name.
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it?
That makes sense.
Like a leotard.
Yeah.
Very
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
In 1894, on this very day, Lawrence Hargrave, the Australian aeronautical pioneer and inventor of the box kite, linked 4 huge box kites together and flew. Although when we say flew, he still remained attached to the ground with piano wire.
Okay.
I don't know why they thought piano wire was a really good idea.
Maybe it made a nice musical noise when the wind went through it.
Wouldn't that cut through your skin, piano wire? It kind of is a bit.
Maybe he's wearing gloves.
Yeah,
I mean, if he was successful, he could have lost a foot.
Lord. Oh, what a grim tale.
Good idea to me. In 1933, the first known photo of Loch Ness Monster is taken by Hugh Gray.
Oh.
And in 1936, the first ever TV garden show, In Your Garden, is shown on BBC TV. Do like a garden show. In 1956, the largest observed iceberg was sighted. Get this, 334 kilometres by 96. That is huge. I'm not so sure whether that is an iceberg or a country. I mean, 334 kilometres?
Quite a big berg, that one. Wow.
It's massive. In 1974, a salmon is discovered in the River Thames in England for the first time since 1833. I'm not convinced, even if I was a salmon eater, that I would actually want to have said salmon from the Thames. I think in 1974 it was the River Thames was a bit tricky. Although they say the fish wouldn't have been there if it was clean. So you know.
Yeah, you see, nature knows best.
1992, the British TV comedy Ab Fab, which was written by Jennifer Saunders and starred Saunders and Joanna Lumley, first appeared on the BBC. Now, I seem to be one of only a few who actually thought that the Ab Fab movie was shocking. Now, the Ab Fab series I liked. The Ab Fab movie I thought was terrible.
Can I admit something to both of you?
You've never watched a Fab program in your life.
It's great. Even I've seen it.
Seen it.
Do you think I'd like it?
I don't know if you would now. That's the thing. I think for some of us who watched it at the time, we look back with a bit of nostalgia. But I don't know. Maybe.
Right?
I watched it relatively recently. I found it still quite funny.
Yeah,
well, I
maybe.
know, so
There's no way to find out.
that's true. I'll report back next week.
They love a glass of wine.
There you go.
Oh, what a quinky dink! I think I'll probably love it. I'll channel my inner Patsy. That's the character.
You got the hair already.
I could totally. Oh, fabulous! Oh, darlings, yes.
It is absolutely fabulous. In 2003, the Shanghai Transrapid sets up a new world record for commercial railway systems by going, get this, at 501 kilometres an hour.
Oh.
That's a bit nifty. I mean, that's...
Well, that is quite speed, because I've been on the Shinkansen, which is the train, the rapid speed train in Japan, and that went 301 kilometres. Like that was quite fast.
So you kind of arrive before you leave.
Indeed. So, we're there already. Hello, Kyoto. Anyway.
Doctor Who, if you ask me. And finally, in 2015, Out magazine names Barack Obama Ally of the Year. Obama becomes the first sitting US president to pose for a cover of a gay magazine. I will stress he did have his clothes on. And before you. And birthdays. Oh, we have loads and loads of birthdays going on this day, the 12th of November. 1929, Grace Kelly, the American actress and Princess of Monaco, one of my heroines as I was a little girl. She was born on this very day. In 1945, Neil Young, Canadian singer-songwriter, may be an option for an album review, Tracy.
Noted.
He was born today. In 1980, Ryan Gosling, the Canadian actor, was actually, although he's a Canadian actor, he was born in London, Ontario.
Yes, praise the Lord for Ryan Gosling. Love him. Actually, I love all the Ryans. Ryan Gosling, Ryan Reynolds. Oh, they're just, I think there's something about Ryans. That could be a movie.
Ryan O'Neill.
Oh, yes, indeed. There's another.
He was. Yes.
You see?
There you go.
Listen.
Handsome. And finally, in 1982, Anne Hathaway, the American actress, was born in New York City. Before I leave, though, there's a couple of very special ladies that I have to mention, because we've got two Lucys that we know of that are celebrating their birthday today. Lucy Willems from Meet Maastricht. She's celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday to you. And Lucy Alvarez, who is also in Maastricht this evening, having a birthday party with her husband. Those little special lockdown parties. She's also celebrating her birthday today. So happy birthday to both of you. Happy birthday. Having a lovely day. And anybody else who is celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday. And that was this day in history.
Well done, Doc.
Hey, thank you.
Very nice.
So
very
Adam's
nice.
Good evening, Adam and Eric. Hello, Eric. Nice of you to join us this evening. Nice to see you nice. And Namaste. Coming up very soon, we've got Pim Martins. He's going to be joining us to have a chat about his new book. But before we get there, I think it's probably time for Tracy and the news.
I'm ready.
Tracy Taylor with the news.
Thank you, Joe, and good evening, everyone. It's November 12th, and you're watching the Maastricht edition. First, a look at your weekend weather, and it will be a mix of sun and showers this weekend with quite some cloud cover and highs of 17. Moving to your news bulletin for tonight. U.S. President-elect Joe Biden has described it as an embarrassment that Donald Trump has not yet conceded the election. He went on to say that nothing would stop the transfer of power, and he hopes to put forward names for his cabinet positions by Thanksgiving. While Mr. Biden was speaking to world leaders by phone, he told them America is back. Shots were fired at the embassy of Saudi Arabia in The Hague this morning. Nobody was injured and police were quickly at the scene. So far, nothing is known about a possible motive. A spokesperson has called on witnesses or anyone with information to come forward. The number of new coronavirus infections in the Netherlands rose by over 4% in a day, according to preliminary figures released by public health agency RIVM. And travel companies in the Netherlands have been ignoring the negative travel advice issued by the outbreak management team last week. Despite Prime Minister Mark Rutte asking people not to travel internationally between now and mid-January, travel companies are continuing to offer package holidays and flights to yellow-coded destinations. And just 1 week after Rutte said people could travel to the Dutch Caribbean islands for a winter break, Curaçao has reported its highest single-day total of new coronavirus infections. The proportion of the Dutch population that supports Zwarte Piet in his traditional blackface form is waning. Last year, 71% of the population wanted to keep the Sinterklaas character in blackface. This year, only 55% are still in favour. Libraries throughout the Netherlands are removing children's books featuring Zwarte Piet from their shelves. And around 10 museums in the Netherlands expect that they won't survive the next 6 months due to the coronavirus crisis. They were able to make some money in the summer when measures were relaxed, but now that museums are closed again, revenues are drying up. And the controversial cull of deers and other large herbivores may become a thing of the past if an experiment to sterilize animals in nature is successful. Wildlife populations in nature reserves are being kept down by hunting, and every year thousands of animals are shot. A group of wildlife vets now want to conduct an experiment in Zeeland where they will sterilize fallow deer. If given the green light, the experiment in the Netherlands will be a world first. Moving to local news, and Maastricht's vineyard, the Apostelhoeve, has won 3 gold medals at Le Mondial de Vin Blanc in Strasbourg, an award which is part of one of the world's most important wine competitions. It's a huge boost for the company that celebrates its 500th anniversary this year. And there are now warning signs in place at the border crossings of Maastricht, Lanaken and Riemst. The signs remind drivers to only cross the border for absolutely necessary journeys. And that's it for tonight. For more local news, you can follow RTV News in English on Facebook and Instagram. If you are a local business, be sure to check out the Support Your Local Business South Limburg Facebook page, a joint initiative between #Maastricht and the Maastricht Edition. And if you want to discover events, concerts and cultural activities going on in Maastricht and the surrounding area, head on over to the website of our partner, maastrichter.com, to check out their awesome calendar of events. You can also follow them on social media, but keep in mind COVID-19 may have an impact. And don't forget that you can always find us on the Maastricht Edition Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, on Reddit and on Instagram. For all the details, check out themaastrichtedition.nl.
Lovely stuff, Tracy. Lovely. Yes, maastrichter.com, that's the place to go and check out if there is anything going on in the area. There isn't much, we know that. We know a lot of things have been cancelled or rescheduled, but there's a handful of events that still happening, which have all the restrictions in, of course. But they also have some online events. So do check out their calendar, because there's some online events, not just in this area, but maybe nationally that are going on. So have a look to see what they've got to offer there. And I believe, Tracy, you're going to be talking a little bit about some Dutch museums later as well, because you did mention that in the news just now. So we shall touch on that again later.
We shall, absolutely.
Marvellous stuff. Now, before we have our next guest joining us, I wonder if somebody would like to ask me a question.
Go for it, Matt.
What would you know this week that you didn't know last week, Joe?
Well, you're not going to believe this.
I'm ready. What is it?
Wait, brace yourselves. The male Argonaut octopus is 30 times smaller than the female and mates with her remotely by detaching a sex tentacle preloaded with sperm, which wriggles its way into her mantle, where it lives until she's in the mood to use it.
Lives.
Wow.
I know.
That is, well, I find that quite interesting. Aren't animals cool?
I know. I hate to say it, but sorry, Matt?
Does it have its own brain? Like, is it a separate animal? Is it still part of the other?
There's so many questions. But I also think there's plenty of female listeners out there who probably find that rather attractive.
Oh, Joe, can worms open?
I know. But so this little wiggly worm comes over, lodges itself in there, and she's like, right, I'll be with you when I'm good and ready.
It's kind of like sperm to go.
Oh, there you are. There's a T-shirt. Let me just write that down.
Someone write it down for the T-shirts.
Yes.
New Year's resolution. Yes, I mentioned New Year. I'm going to make a list of T-shirts.
Yes.
Sperm to go.
We're gonna start a T-shirt shop with all these expressions that we come up. Sperm to go. There you are.
But can you wear that? Like, can you two wear a T-shirt saying "sperm to go"? Or does it have to be a guy?
No idea. Well, I suppose you could on the back the story about the octopus, and then it's.
I'm an Argonaut
But if you don't see them from the back, you just see.
Yeah.
Oh, see, a can of worms has been opened here. There's big discussions. There's huge discussions. So yeah. But I think it's probably time for us to have a chat with Pim, who knows all kinds of things about relationships between humans and non-humans. Actually. It's a hell of a secret. Here he is. Good evening, Pim.
Good evening.
How are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you doing?
Did you just hear the discussion we were having?
Yeah, about this octopus, not?
Yeah.
Well, nature's great, isn't it?
Nature's best. Yeah.
It's I mean that has got legs on that conversation. I tell you, that could be a whole evening with a few bottles of wine. Just get some men and women around the table discussing the pros and cons of that for sure.
Yeah, probably for another edition or so.
Yes, exactly. So we did try to get you on our Halloween show, of course, a few weeks ago, and we had some technical issues, and unfortunately we couldn't get you on that night. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. We got you on here eventually. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
But for those of our listeners who have no idea whatsoever who you are, maybe you could give us a little bit of background about yourself, who you are, where you're from, what you're doing here, etc., etc.
Well, I live in this part of the country, obviously, not in Maastricht. I live in Brunsum, but that's a little town 30 kilometers from Maastricht, I think. But I do work at Maastricht University, and that's probably the reason you invited me. And I do a lot of interesting research there that all relates to sustainable relation between humans and animals in, every way you can think of. So sustainable zoos, how we relate to our pets, all these kind of things. So it's quite interesting to do so. And I teach on these matters as well at our university, obviously, having international projects on the matter. So it's great to do. So very happy to be here and to tell a little bit more about that.
Yeah, Matt, I think, has probably got a whole list of questions here, because this is another one of those subjects that could go on and on and on and on. There's a lot to this.
Yeah, so Pim, you recently published your new book, and I saw in the book that you talk about the relationship between animals and non-human animals. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Well, in fact, I have a copy, of course, with me.
Oh, okay.
The great new book. It's about sustainable relationship between human and non-human animals. And some people found it maybe a very strange title, talking about non-human animals. But actually, the whole idea is to make the point that we are also an animal.
Yes.
So we are just part of the animal system, and we call ourselves humans. So that's a deliberate choice to make not that much a difference between us and animals. We talk all about human animals and non-human animals.
So do you think that sort of understanding of the relationship between humans and animals has sort of been lost, that we've sort of lost that connection?
Yeah, well, I really think so. It's very good you ask that, because one of the things I'm doing currently, I'm actually interviewing indigenous leaders worldwide. So I'm talking Dakota Indians to Incas to what you have, trying to catch up with some Aboriginals leaders. And they basically all tell the same, that actually they had, or at least their ancestors, they had a natural kind of bond with nature and animals they live with. And I think many of us have lost that connection, at least myself personally. Well, I don't live in nature anymore. Probably you do neither. So I think that actually is the case. We lose connection with nature and with animals that live there.
Absolutely.
And what do you think is like what problems does that cause? Like, is people talk about the relationship being lost in one way, causing problems like pandemics, because it means that we're sort of exploiting nature too much and nature can't cope with it. And these pandemics, with us becoming too like not caring, sort of partly causes pandemics such as corona. I don't know if it is in this case, but that's what I read about.
Yeah, well, I think my official topic of research is sustainable development. But I really think that our connection with animals and nature they live in is the key to a sustainable future. And you see, as you mentioned, many things go wrong if we don't respect animals. If we put them in the bio industry to eat, or we put them in wet market in China, for example, where a lot of things are happening, or we actually cut trees, encroach on their living habitats. And actually, you're absolutely right. You may know that more than 70% of the infectious diseases that are emerging actually come from animals. So it's kind of this cross-species kind of transmission. And of course, that happens whenever humans and animals interact. But currently, all the things we do cause our interactions with animals to be so much more than ever. Bio industry, cutting trees, needing space for our food and our houses and these kind of things. So actually, that's the case, I think. I really believe that that's the core of many things we see.
Well, the other side of this, of course, is taking away their habitat means we have an awful lot of animals that are now extinct or on the verge of extinction, of course. And this, again, refers back to this relationship where we maybe just don't have an understanding of the way these creatures live and how that would actually impact on our own lives.
Yeah, actually, people say that we are in the midst of the sixth extinction. So we had the dinosaurs and we had several other extinction waves before, but now it's due to us. And actually, number of species, biodiversity, as they call it, they are very important for ecosystem functioning, and we are depending on that for our water, clean air, our food. So this loss of biodiversity is quite serious, I think. Together with these pandemic things. But in my book, it's not only about this doom and gloom. There are also many nice things in our relationship with animals. And I really think if you talk about future changes, if you focus a little bit more on the great interaction we can have with animals or how great nature is, and we all probably have seen this David Attenborough kind of movies. And except for the last one, the previous one, were quite optimistic, showing the beauty of nature, showing how nice it is. And I think you need to do both. You need to show that there are a lot of things we are not treating animals in the right way. We use their fur, we kill them for their ivory, we put them in cages to eat, but also we enjoy having animals around us. And I think if you focus maybe a little bit more on that, then the other things may come less.
It is a bizarre relationship, isn't it, really? As you say, you know, on the one hand, we get all soft and fuzzy over our pets, for example, or as soon as you see the baby or child version of any particular animal, you're like, oh God, my goodness, it's so cute, isn't it lovely? And then on the flip side, yes, we're breeding them to eat. and we're keeping them in some atrocious conditions.
Yeah.
And certain cultures, of course, kill animals because they believe their ivory or scales are going to get rid of their impotence, for example, or make them get rid of cancer or something. I mean, it's really so diverse, this relationship that we have. How can we actually all come together on this? I mean, we're talking about thousands and thousands of years of different cultures looking at animals in completely different ways.
Yeah, well, that's a very good comment you made, because we treat guinea pigs like pets, and there are places in the world where they eat them.
Yeah.
We eat our cows, and in some places they are sacred.
Yeah.
We treat our dogs as if they were our family member, and in some places they also are being eaten. So it's so mixed, and probably it will never completely change. The world is so big and people are so different. But I think one of the key things is that we are a little detached from animals, at least the ones we eat or mistreat in most cases. And that's also, I think, a lesson learned from the interviews I'm doing with these indigenous leaders. The ones that I interviewed, I need still to do a lot of more interviews. They are not vegetarian, but I really like also Chief Phil. He was Chief Dakota. He told me, well, whenever they kill an animal to eat, they say thank you and they apologize. So they thank them for being part of their menu and apologize for having them killed. So, and that's already a very small, I think, a token of respect towards what you do. And I don't think we thank our sandwich ham when we eat it.
No, but you know what? If I had to thank my food, I probably would feel I shouldn't be eating you in the first place.
Yeah. And so remotely, what we eat, we don't even recognize, at least the meat and many other things we eat. And on the other hand, if you see how fond we are of our pets and how we bond with them and how great it is and how helpful they can be, I think if we realize that maybe the animals we eat are not much different than our cats or dogs, and maybe we make this mind shift, at least I hope, to some extent.
Indeed. Do you think it's a tall ask, though, Pim, in these times? Do you think that this mind shift we speak about, and even that David Attenborough hinted at in the documentary, do you think it's all too late now? Do you think there's still a chance to change things and shift the balance?
Yeah, I think it's never too late, of course. You can always change if you really want to. And we have seen good examples. And I'm quite also optimistic by teaching a lot of young people that they are quite willing to change. So they organize their own meetings and they invite people to talk about these kind of things. And they organize climate marches that also relate to our relationship with nature, of course. And on the other hand, of course, some processes are already in place, so they are not easily to be reversed. So it's a kind of a mixed feeling I have. And talking about the current crisis, we all have to step back a little in terms of traveling and all these kind of things. But I doubt it will remain that way. I think as soon as it slows down a little bit and we are able to fly, I heard you talking on your news item about the companies that offer cheap flights. I think everybody will go back to the normal or even succeed that if everything is possible again. So it's a little bit mixed, I think.
Yeah.
So when can we expect the next book then, Pim?
Well, this book is in English. It's quite scientifically based, and in fact, I'm writing in a Dutch book at the moment, a little bit more popular in a sense. It will be in Dutch, not in English. And whenever it's ready, I think hopefully next year somewhere.
Excellent. So if people want to get their hands on your book, where are we getting it? Amazon?
Well, it's the online version is free available on my website. You can just go to pimmartens.com. Then you will find the homepage. You can also buy a copy through Amazon or bol.com. But the online version is free available for all of you that are interested.
Excellent. And hopefully, once we've got through this pandemic, then we can come and find you with our book and get it signed.
Yeah, well, of course. It would be my pleasure to bring you a hard copy with a signature.
Ah, fantastic. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Pim. It's a hot topic, that's for sure. And I hope Sir David picks up a copy of your book.
Yeah, it would be great.
I'm sure he'll find it very, very interesting. Next time when you got the new book come out, please do come and join us again.
Yes, I certainly will.
Well, thanks ever so much, Pim.
Well, thanks for having me. Now. Have a great evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Wow, that was Professor Pim Martins from Maastricht University. What a cool chap.
He is a cool chap. It's a very cool subject, actually. And,
we could have gone on for ages, couldn't we?
I think we could have picked his brain for quite a long time.
I feel another interview coming on, Matt.
Yes, I think so.
Do an academic season.
That would be quite cool.
Yeah. That would be quite
yes,
cool.
I mean, we only touched on a few of his points, but he so many things he said in that short few moments we were chatting really ring true, right? You can really recognize a lot of what he's saying, and very interesting these chats he's having at the moment.
Yeah, I was looking at his website. You should take a look. It's really interesting the stuff he's doing.
Well, the David Attenborough documentary, which unfortunately we can only find on Netflix, and I don't subscribe to Netflix, and as I'm a David Attenborough mega fan, and I can't see the documentary, I'm just having a bit of a moment.
But you should watch it. I've watched it, and
I want to, but I don't subscribe to Netflix, unfortunately.
Do the free trial.
You could do a free trial for a month, and then
well, okay, I'll do that just to watch David. Good plan. Yes, I'll be sneaky. Oh, we've just publicly broadcast that. Anyway,
you can read the book. The book is available now as well.
Yes, there is a book.
It's an extended version of what they discuss in the documentary.
Yes,
so,
I think with the documentary and the book that's just come out, and with Pim's book as well, this is certainly is a subject that everybody's talking about, and I believe also following there's like a David Attenborough fan club on Facebook, which I'm a member of, and looking at looking at the comments that people are putting on there, people are starting to make changes. They've watched this documentary or they've read the book and they're going, do you know what? I need to make changes. And if everybody just makes small changes, you don't have to go completely vegan, completely green, completely self-sustainable, but just those small changes can make such a difference, of course.
Yeah.
So, moving swiftly on, Jason's in the house. Our lovely Jason, bless him, who is now somewhere over the pond there, far, far away. It's lovely to have you with us. We're missing you. Eric says, octopuses and T-shirts, only on the Maastricht today.
All right.
That's another T-shirt slogan, octopuses and T-shirts, only on the Maastricht.
There you go, Eric. You've just invented a new slogan. Yes, we really should be writing this stuff down.
Yeah.
I think it's time for Dutch to go, Matt. No, Matt to go Dutch. Actually, I quite like that. Dutch to go, Matt.
Dutch to go, Matt. It would be nice if the Netherlands went Matt. That'd be great. Perfect for me. Everything would work wonderfully. I'd love it.
Oh, yeah.
The queue, no. Anyway. But yeah, so.
Have great hair.
Yes, great hair.
What have you done this week, Matt?
So this week, I don't know if you saw my post on Monday on Instagram and Facebook, I told you about KLM.
Yes.
But I actually wanted to tell you about the Dinghuis. I just couldn't find a picture that I could use. So I was like, I have to find something else. So I'll tell you about the Dinghuis today instead. So,
okay.
If you live in Maastricht, you must know about the Dinghuis. It's a very strange looking building at the end of the main shopping street that goes from the Vrijthof down to the bridge.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the tourist information office.
Yes, exactly. It's got the VVV in the basement. And it's a very tall, narrow building with a very pointy roof. And if you see it from the bridge, it looks very odd. And it's always struck me when I first came to Maastricht, and still I always think it's a very odd-looking building. So I thought I'd tell you about it. So originally it was the city town hall, basically, and was also used as a courthouse. And it was built in the 14th century, so in the 1300s. And it was used by the split lords of the city. So the city was ruled by the Duke of Brabant and the Bishop of Liège. And they both used the building together, which is why it had the staircase like in the current Stadthuis, which is like a a diamond, like a triangle, I suppose. So there's one staircase each side, so that they could both come up each on a separate side and meet in the middle to represent the fact that they both ruled the city. And so then eventually the new stadthouse was built in the 1600s, and the building then became used as a prison. So there used to be, like, there's a small street down the side of it called the Jodenstraat, which is also where the Mein Markram shop is. So if you go down there, it's a very old street, one of the oldest streets in the city. And there used to be, between the building and the street, there used to be a prison sort of bridge sort of thing with cells in it, which at some point was demolished. But so it used to be a very important prison and place of law and courts. And then eventually it sort of got out of the official use and became a theatre. And then it was used as a, what do you call it in English? So I read all this in Dutch, and now I'm trying to translate it in my head. It's a guild house for merchants who make wool and materials and stuff. So they use it as a meeting place. And it's been used as a school, as offices. And during the Second World War, it was also used as a lookout post. So there's a tower at the top, and they built it out a bit, and it was a lookout post. And it was also used for centuries to look for fires as well. So it was a lookout post to check if there's any fires in the city, because for a long time it's one of the tallest buildings. And now, of course, it's used for the VVV in the basement. But I think most of the rest of the building is empty. I've never actually seen it open, the main bit of it. And I've never been in. I'd love to go in.
That's quite some history.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that little building. So yes, you definitely go check it out, and I'm sure it's probably open on Open Monument Day. I'm not sure if that's happening. But yeah, go check it out. Appreciate it more. Take a good look around.
Because it's not that big, really, is it? It's
just really tall and narrow.
Yeah. So for all those things to be going on there, there's a program in the UK. I think it's on the BBC called A House in Time or something like that, where they study the history of a particular house. And this, to me, sounds like you could probably do a whole series on it, because the amount of times it's either changed hands or had different uses or whatever, considering it's so small, that's a lot for one little building.
It is, yeah.
It's very interesting.
There's plenty of these sort of buildings in Maastricht. If you walk around.
Yes, that's true, yes. Nice one, Matt. Love it.
I should try to pop by at the weekend and take a photograph of said Dinghuis for everybody for our Instagram page. How's that?
That sounds like a fine idea. Our resident competition winning photographer of the Maastricht edition. For those of you out there who may not know, our Tracy's been winning competitions lately. Oh, yeah.
One competition.
Well, it's one more than Matt, I'll tell you that.
True. I have never won a photography.
I had to use your name because it rhymes. But yes, that would be lovely. Very nice. Very interesting, Matt. Nicely done.
Very nice.
Okay, well, we're coming to the end of the show. Before we disappear, Tracy, you got some titty bitties for us?
Yes, I do indeed. So we were chatting in the news, or I was chatting in the news, about many of the museums in Netherlands in a bit of dire straits at the moment because of, people can't visit and everything else. But there is a way you can maybe help, because many museum collections, of course, can be viewed via a website. But if you're an art lover and you miss your museums, you might want to try a virtual tour of the museums. Now,
how do you do that, Tracy?
I'll tell you, Joe. You can view these works of art by kind of Zoom thing, or they've got like little cameras that you can do the virtual tour in. You can hear stories about the background of a painting, and some of the museums offer the option to kind of step into the painting.
Oh.
How kind of cool is that?
Oh.
I know! So there's a couple of Dutch museums. There's lots of Dutch museums. So the best thing is to check out online. But you can, for example, do this with the Rijksmuseum, which is one of the very famous ones, the Van Gogh Museum, the Mauritshuis, which I believe our Matthew has been to. That's to name but a few. But check it out online, something like, virtual tours, museums, something like this. And you can see what options are out there and literally see the wonders of the artwork on offer from your home, which is kind of
great
cool.
idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I believe it's free. I'm not sure if there is a cost involved, but it would certainly at least, give you a chance as well. If you're a little selfish and you've missed your art, that you can actually check things out and see it while the lockdown kind of continues and things are still a bit closed. I also heard
this idea of stepping into a painting.
Isn't that quite cool? Yeah. I'm not sure if all of them offer this option, probably the bigger ones, but that would be kind of fun.
I remember years ago on Rembrandtplein in Amsterdam, where they had the statues of the Night Watch there. And I was beside myself with excitement because I could stand amongst the guys from the painting there and all the statues. I know! It's like, oh, this is really cool. This is really cool. So that really appeals to me. I think that sounds really good.
And keep in mind that during these lockdown days, I mean, this is also an important part for our well-being, right? Seeing beauty and things like that. So definitely worth something to check out. And you can always check out our Jo, who's also our very own resident artist. Check her out at Paint.
Please. Well, do you know what? Anybody who's being creative at this time, I think it's quite important. It doesn't matter what you do. If you can create something, if you can produce something, I mean, it really does give you a warm glow. It really does. So whatever you do, I tell you what, I would absolutely recommend if you've got the opportunity to do it. If you see any old furniture in your house or apartment and you think to yourself, do you know what, that's old, I want to get rid of it, I want to put something new in there, just get yourself a little pot of chalk paint and just paint it. Just paint it, any colour at all, brighten it up a little bit, and I tell you what, your whole room will be transformed and you'll be addicted. You'll start painting everything.
So it's true.
My husband at some point has had to have a few extra showers because I've painted him while he's been standing next to me.
And while you're painting, you could listen to the recommended album of the week.
Oh, there you go. A little bit of Whitney while you've got your pot of chalk paint. I mean, it just goes hand in hand. Whitney and chalk paint. There's another T-shirt for you. I need to be better, but I need to be writing this stuff down.
It's okay, Jo. We can watch back the recording of the show.
Watch back the recording because you will find this not just on the Facebook, but you can also tune into our YouTube channel and you can pick up this week and last week, any week. It's all there for you. So, but that is it. We come to the end of the show. Thank you so much to everybody who joined us this evening. It was lovely to have Hugo with us. It was lovely to have Pim. We shall be back next week. Matt's going to be reviewing Whitney this week, painting or whatever it is that he's going to be doing. He's going to be on the Whitney case. We shall see you next week. Have a lovely weekend. Have a lovely week. Stay safe. And we shall see you next Thursday. Thank you ever so much. Bye.
Namaste.
Bye.
Namaste.